Hi, welcome to my channel with me, Emily D, and I'm so happy you're here. So today is Makeup Monday, ladies, and I'm in a collab with Glitzy Gem. So I have done an eye look on one eye, and this time we'll be using a Beauty Glazed Meet Your Match Color Flame. This one is the one with the purple trimming. So this is a beautiful palette, a fun color story as well, just like the last one. So there are the shades in there. So I did wear a shirt with colors to kind of match my eye look. And let's get into this eye look. So I will share what's on my lips right now. And I did apply this melt. This is in the shade Familia. So this is a purple lip liner. And then I went in with this MAC lipstick. It is very creamy, very nice. And this is in the shade La Femme. So this one is a pretty kind of burgundy shade. So that is what is on my lips so far. That is what I applied. So let's get into this eye look. I'm going to start with this iconic London brush. So it is very fluffy and round. It is flat. There's no dome to it. I'm going to go into the shade called Lotus. Lotus is this beautiful pink up here. Very bright, pretty pink color. Okay, so let me grab this little mirror. I just have the palette down here on my lap. So that shade is going to be buffed all above my crease, getting very close to the brow bone. And please excuse any noise you hear in the background. Okay, so that shade is already placed down very fast. It is pretty bright, but it is very blendable. So that is very nice about this palette. The mattes are very blendable, very pretty shimmers. Okay, so now I'm going to go into a deep color, and this color is called Prune. Prune is this kind of purpley color up here on the top, and that is going to go into my crease. And this is a dual-ended brush I got in the Moods palette by Laura Sanchez. So that deep purple is going to go right into the crease and blend it up with that baby pink shade. So I'm excited to see what Glitzy Gem is going to do, because there are some neutral colors in this palette, so you can create a neutral look, but I love playing with these colors. I'm always doing a bright look in most of my videos. Sometimes I go natural, but I'm mostly playing with the colorful shades. Alright, so that shade is already all buffed out as well. So just to blend that in a little more, I'm going to go back in with the first brush I used. I'm going to tap one time into that baby pink shade and just go over the top of it. Alright. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more here on this outer edge. Blend it up just a little bit more. Okay. So now for all over the lid, I'm going to go into the shade called Turquoise. Turquoise is this beautiful color right there. So that is going all over my lid. And this brush is the AOA Studio E136. So it is round and domed, but it is pretty dense. So I'm really focusing that on the outer portion of my lid, as well as the inner portion. But it's okay if I get it all over my lid, because the Tacky Base primer I use is very nude base. So it'll cover up any kind of color that goes in the center. I'm also going to connect that right in the middle here, right into the crease. Where the purple shade is, I'm like barely blending it into the purple. So you're not going to see it whenever I look up. It's mostly just on the lid. So when I look up, you'll just see the purple coming up, and whenever I look down, you'll see that pop of turquoise. A very beautiful shade. It is true to the color name. So That is nice. Okay, so that is already all blended in. I really do like that turquoise shade. Okay, so now I'm going to grab just a tiny little dab of this Alamar Tacky Primer here. Just a tiny little speck. Okay, so this is like literally smaller than a pea size. You can see that. A very little bit. So that is going to go dabbed right in the center of my eye. Up to the crease, right over that turquoise. But you could still see it whenever I look down. You'll still see that turquoise line connecting right in the crease. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this little brush here that I used for the purple, but I'm going to use the other end, the angled end, and I'm going to go into the shade called Viva. Viva is this beautiful shimmery blue right there. And that is going to go right over the tacky primer. And these shades, the shimmers are pressed very nice in this pan. They're very easy to pick up. Honestly, I don't really think you would need a tacky primer. I just like to use one because I have it on hand and I don't want it just sitting there without being used. Because I do have a backup of that tacky primer as well, so might as well get use out of it. Okay, so let's get this side. I'm just going to blend that into the turquoise. So this is another halo eye look, spotlight eye. Okay. Alright, so there we go. There is that blue all laid down. A beautiful shimmery blue. So I'm going to go back into the AOA brush, tap into turquoise, and just fade it in a little bit better. Alright, so now let's work on the lower lash line. So this brush here is a little, kind of like a paddle brush. I'm going to go into the shade turquoise. And turquoise is going to go right onto my lash line. The lower lash line, just on the outer portion and the inner portion. So it can have the same kind of gradient look as the top. Okay, so there is turquoise. And now I'm going to get this other little kind of paddle brush. And this one came inside a palette as well. And I'm going to go into the shade called Prune. Prune is going to go right under the turquoise. Very lightly, just tapped in there. Just to blend it out. That prune shade is very vibrant. If you get too much on the brush, it'll come out very dark. Okay, and now just one more step. I'm going to go back into the shade I started with, and that one was Lotus, which was that kind of pinky color. And this one is just like an eyebrow brush. There's no name to it. And that is going into the lower lash line as well. To give it more of a blend. Okay, so I was just looking in the phone camera there to make sure y'all could see what I'm doing, and y'all can, so that is great. Okay, I'm going to grab this tiny itty bitty little paddle brush. There's no name on there. I'm going to go back into the blue shimmer called Viva. And I'm just packing that onto this little brush, and that is going to go right in the lower lash line, right up with the lashes. So I'm kind of mimicking whatever I did to the top to the lower lash line as well. Okay, so there is the look. Now I'm going to go into the shade called Peach for my brow bone highlight, and it is this shade right there. And this one is just a very round little fluffy brush. There's no name to it. I'm just coming right here on my brow bone. And then for my inner corner highlight, I'm going to go into a different shade. I really wanted to play with this palette, so I tried to use as many shimmers because they're all different. That's a very pretty highlight for the brow bone. I'm going to go into the shade called Champagne, which is lighter than Peach. It looks more like a golden highlighter. So that's going to go right on my tear duct on the inner corner. And this one is a tiny itty bitty little paddle brush as well. So these shimmers are very soft pressed. You could see the dents in there. And this is my first time using this palette. My first try at doing this look, and I really do like it. I feel like it just matches my shirt very nice. The lips just cohesive with it. That's how my shirt has those kind of deep burgundy lines. I don't know if y'all can see them, but yes. All right, so let's just go ahead and put a little more on this side. Okay, so there is the eye look completed. I'm going to go, I think I'm going to add a little black line just to the top lash line and my mascara, so I'll be right back. So this is the final look with my mascara applied and eyeliner. So I did tight line the top lash line with this I Method Beauty. I just used a regular liner. And I did keep it as a very thin, tight line. So I didn't want to take away anything from whenever I look up because I have very hooded eyes. So there's that. And then I went in with this Glitzy in the waterline. I used the side in black. And this is a nice eyeliner. Okay, for the lashes, I used my Blink Lash Primer. And then I used this FM Wet n Wild colored mascara, and this one is in the shade Purple. Yes, it says Purple. Okay, so this is it. And the wand on this is very nice. It is like a plastic type of wand. Let me put down the tube. So you can see the bristles in there. It's very good for separating the lashes. That's what's in my top eyelashes. And then for the bottom lower lashes, I went in with this AOA Wisp, and this one is in the color green. So this one has like a regular kind of wand on it. So it is a little spirally, a little big for the lower lashes, but I did make it work. So I hope you all enjoyed this look that I created, and please see Glitzy Gems look that she is going to create with this palette here. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.